What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your daily dose of Celtics content with the vitamin C's if you're in America, vitamin C's if you're in England. If you're from a different part of the world, then I honestly don't know how to say it, so I'm sorry. I'm Adam Taylor. I'm joined by my boy, Mr. Tim Shields, and we're back, man. I mean, we weren't here last week. I had a bereavement in the family. Honestly, I just needed some time away. Basketball was the last thing on my mind, but we're here today. Tim, what's going on, my man?
Nothing much. I guess since we last convened, we now have another move for the Celtics, which just seems to add on to the crazy pile of trades and moves that the Celtics have made since Brad Stevens took over. So, yeah, Carson Edwards and Chris Dunn are out, and Juancho Hernangomez is in.
So first of all, Brad Stevens is definitely a Biggie Smalls fan because he knows that bad boys move in silence and violence. He's woke up wanting all the smoke. He was not happy, like clearly unhappy with the roster construction last year. Made multiple moves. They've got older, they've got deeper. They're far more switchable, far more offensively versatile. I really like this move as well, and we'll get into that in a moment. But first of all, can we just take a moment to say thank you to Carson Edwards for 2 years of absolute scapegoating? Because we blame Carson Edwards for a whole heap, dude.
I mean, he took a lot of heat, and I don't think it's necessarily fair, but hey, you know what? That's the shtick. Like that's kind of just what happens in the NBA. If you're a bench rotation guy and you don't live up to the expectation, you're gonna catch a lot of heat. And it stinks. I hope that this change of scenery will help him. I'm hoping that he will turn a corner, turn a new leaf, and he will become the NBA player that we all thought he was going to be. Yeah, it would suck for it to not happen in Boston, but hey, at the end of the day, like I don't ever want any player that's ever drafted by my team to stink. There's no benefit to me saying, oh, this guy sucks. Like, there's no benefit to that. So I hope he can capture some of that glory that he had when he was in college and he gets back to hitting 3 pointers like at an insane clip. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see it. I think that his game just doesn't suit the role he's going to be given in the NBA. He seems very ball dominant. He needs to find a rhythm. I know that Scal said a bunch last year that when Carson makes his first shot, he's a completely different player. Well, no shit. He's confident, like, but at the same time, you're not going to be a lead guard in the NBA when you're Carson Edwards height. That's just the unfortunate reality of things. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. Isaiah Thomas showed Boston that a few years back, but generally, Carson Edwards is going to be a second or third guard in a rotation. And when the Celtics, like if you look at the Celtics point guard depth and depth at the 1 and 2, I genuinely could not see a way where Carson Edwards would get consistent minutes. So moving him on, I'm not even expecting him to get consistent minutes where he goes now, but moving him on was the best thing for the Celtics. I don't see a reason why anyone would disagree there. Chris Dunn, it is what it is. You came, you saw, you didn't play at all, and now you're gone too. Oh, well, thank you for the 10 weeks of knowing you. Whoever was doing deep dives on Chris Dunn, I done a huge deep dive on Moses Brown. Probably, I think it was like 3,000 words scouting report. Moses Brown got traded before we ever saw him. So I feel your pain, guys. I feel your pain. But it is what it is, man. How do you feel about not seeing Chris Dunn?
I think part of me was kind of bummed out because I think there was a lot of defensive potential there. That's kind of like what his reputation was, is that he's a defense first player. He was a guy that the Celtics way back when, during that infamous Jaylen Brown draft, people thought that they were going to be drafting Chris Dunn in order to flip him to Chicago for Jimmy Butler. And when that didn't happen, kind of Chris Dunn sort of faded out of every Celtics fan's mind. So I was hoping we would just get a chance to see him, but like you said, they stacked up majorly at the guard position. So it's really hard to crack a rotation when you consider that Peyton Pritchard, as a rookie, came in and did what he did. So they're going to look to him to be a major piece. Of course, Marcus Smart, they've got that show of faith. Give him that contract extension, he's going to be starting. You're bringing in Dennis Schroeder, who's a very, very capable player. And if you're talking about playing at the 1 or the 2, you adding in Josh Richardson as well, who can also handle the ball. So even just looking at that on the surface, like there's a lot of depth at that spot. And if you are questionable offensively, or if you're entering in new and you're not settled in, it's going to be even harder for you. So as you said with Carson Edwards, he was not going to be able to cut that rotation. That was just a given. And then Chris Dunn, I was hopeful because of that defense, but I guess it really doesn't matter. And I think this addition of Juancho Hernangomez really, really helps the depth at the 4, and it adds a little bit of shooting stroke. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on Carson once more, going to the Grizzlies is probably one of the better spots he could go to. They've got a really good track record of squeezing a little bit of talent out of a stone and actually having a good youth development program. Obviously, it's Draft Twitter's crush team. They've got a bunch of guys that everybody's fell in love with during their draft cycles. So I think that this was actually one of the better places he could end up. I genuinely don't think he's going to play much, but at least the development he's going to be given in terms of one-to-one coaching and group coaching is going to be in a system that has developed a reputation for bringing guys along quite quickly and getting them acclimated to the NBA. So I'm excited for that. In Juancho, I think a lot of people are looking at the fact that he didn't really do much last year. He struggled he was on two teams last year, struggled for both of them. That's cool. I get it. I completely get it. He had a bad year. My outlook on it is fit is one of the most underrated aspects of any NBA player's success. Does the team you're on play a brand of basketball that fits your skill set? Do they put you in a position where your skill set is accentuated and your weaknesses are hidden as best as possible? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work like that for role players. It works like that for superstars. It works like that for stars. For role players, you're coming in and you're fitting into what the team needs, not the other way around. When you find a role player that comes into what a team needs and that skill set and team need matches up and they mesh well, now you're going to actually have a good production from that guy. And I think that's what works for Juancho. Juancho. How do I say it?
I think Juancho is correct.
Juancho. We'll call
Juancho
him
is
Juan.
pretty,
Juan.
yeah.
Let's just call him Juan,
Yeah.
because we'll go back and forth for like 5 minutes. But I think that what Boston need from Juan and what his skill set is marries up quite well. Now, obviously, that a lot depends on what Ime Udoka is going to ask the team to be offensively, how he's going to ask them to set up defensively. Are they going to be more traditional in defense? Are they going to continue with switch systems? Do they want to run drop? Do they want to start going a bit more zone? Is he going to be a Nick Nurse style and start throwing triangle and two and box and one, left, right, and center? A lot of Juan's upside on defense, which there isn't much if we're being quite honest, but any upside he does have all depends on the system that Udoka is going to put into place.
Yeah, he's not going to defend like a classic four or even like a stretch five. That's not really in his skill set. I think what you're really acquiring here is a guy who can stretch the floor. And as you said, he had a down season, but he's still a very capable shooter. It's just a matter of getting him into a spot where he's comfortable and you're getting him looks in spots that he's good. I was pulling up a shot chart, looking at it just overall from last season. He struggled from the wings a lot. Generally, I think from the left wing, he was shooting about 25%. To give you an idea, league average is just over 36%. But from the corners, he shot about 43, 44%. So like maybe that's something that they try and get him spots there and see if they can try and get a little bit more action for him on those spots. But, if you can try and recapture any of that kind of shooting stroke he had when he was with Denver, that would be good. He's very capable. I think he's very capable, and I think you're adding another guy who can hit the three ball, and it sort of gives you a more athletic replacement for what you were trying to get out of Luke Cornett, and it's just going to bolster your depth overall. I don't think this is a bad move, and I think also Juan is a capable ball handler, not like an insanely good ball handler, but he's able to move with the ball better than you would think, and he's pretty athletic as well.
Another thing that I like is that, and I've wrote about this many times, skill with size is something that the NBA has trended towards very quickly recently. If you're a big man, you need to be able to do more than just pound the rock down on the post. You need to be able to stretch the floor or be a passer or be somebody that can put the ball on the floor and attack a closeout and hit a midi. Being big is no longer a guarantee to success in the NBA. Juancho comes in now as a big man with skill, his skill and size. And that skill is the fact that he can rebound a little bit. He can score from deep. He can get some work done on the low block because he's a big guy. And the fact that, playing as a 5-out offense as the 4, he's going to get opportunities to start developing that playmaking skill as well, because there's going to be a lot of off-ball actions happening around him where all he needs to do is hit the open man. It looks like it could be a match made in heaven from that perspective as well. And it's also something that Brad Stevens has moved towards considerably quickly with this roster. He's wanted skill with size at every position. There's no more 6-footers on this roster. There's no one below 6 foot. Somebody tweeted at me the other day saying, "Hey, no one on the roster needs a booster seat on the bench anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, dang, dude, you didn't have to do him like that."
So
but it's
cold.
true, it's true. And I find the funny part, funny side of that. But definitely, what Hernangomez is bringing to the table is skill with size. Not saying it's elite level skill, not even saying it's great level skill, but it's more skilled than what the Celtics had. And the four was definitely the biggest position of need heading into the start of the season. Realistically, you had Jason Tatum, and then it fell off a cliff, and you were looking at either playing Al Horford at the four, which doesn't make sense to me defensively. I also think you lose some of his skill set at this age. I think he's gone past the ability to be a regular starter at the four. So all that really left you with was Jabari Parker, which is hit and miss at the moment anyway, and Grant Williams. Both Parker and Williams have shown more potential as a small ball five option than they have as a consistent power forward. So I think Juancho was also a definite upgrade there just from a positional need as well.
Yeah, and I know there was also talks of like maybe Kyle Anderson being a trade option. I don't think that's still off the table, but I think if Juancho is here, then maybe that becomes less of a need. They still, again, the Celtics still have that Evan Fournier trade exception to work with, and I believe they also have the Daniel Tice trade exception to work with. And I think they have the Tristan Thompson TPE to work with too. A lot of balls are in the air right now. Even this trade right now is not even official until September 15th due to the limitations after acquiring Chris Dunn. So it'll be interesting to see how they build out from here. But adding Juan to the fold is definitely not a bad thing. And I think they're also trying to capture a little bit of what they were trying to do with those double bigs by going bigger, having Daniel Tice at the four, and having a true center and Tristan Thompson at the five. I think that'll work a lot better if you're doing it either with Rob Williams or specifically with Al Horford due to his passing ability, his ability to play switch defense, as well as his own ability to hit the three ball. And I think it'll add a lot to the spacing. I think this was something that was a long time coming. And as you said, Brad Stevens has kind of been switching towards this mentality. Granted, you now have Ime Udoka at coach, so it'll be interesting to see how he rolls with it. But I don't think the system is going to change that drastically. And shooting with size is always something that's welcome. Like that is the general trending of the league. Like if you're able to shoot the three at least a decent clip and you're a big guy, that opens up so many other venues for other offensive opportunities, whether it be, trying to spread the floor so you can attack inside or just drawing a little bit more of that defensive presence. Like you're pulling defenders towards you since they have to come out and defend that. And it's just going to create other opportunities for guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to attack. So it's all good news. I want to see how it works. It's all good in theory, at least.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you said Juan is an average level dribbler. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit. As a big man that shoots, being able to do that and attack a closeout and then hit the secondary creation pass or be able to drive the lane and finish around the rim, that's important because if you are just a stationary shooter and you're a big man that just literally spots up outside on the perimeter and shoots whenever you get the ball, well, it's easy to close out on you, do those flyby closeouts and really mess with that shot, mess with the release, mess with the the actual gather onto your shooting pocket. So being able to put the ball on the floor, take a step in, scan, make the pass or make the shot or just drive is going to be what really fits Juan's skill set and helps Boston in what they're trying to do. It does feel like they're going to be more of a 5-out or a 4-out, 1-in type of offense this year. And then you talk about trades. We've spoke previously. The thing Brad Stevens is doing is 1-year deals. Now, Hernangomez is coming in technically with 2 years on the deal, but the second year is fully non-guaranteed. So Boston can just be like, yo, thank you for the year. We're not going to take up that guarantee option. So it's effectively a team option at that point. We're not going to take that option. You can go and explore free agency. What they can also do is say to a team like whoever, hey, we can take your guy. We've got the TPE to fit him into the TPE, and we'll give you 1 or 2 expiring deals just so you can do what you need to do for the rest of the year if you want to try and remain like partially competitive. And then these guys will come off the books. Hernangomez could be an option there if they're trading for a 4. If they're not, then obviously you can do that with Josh Richardson. You could do that with Schroeder. There's so many possibilities and so many players that actually have some modicum of trade value. Like, put it this way, coming into the offseason, did you see Carson Edwards having any trade value whatsoever? Because I was like,
No.
yo, you're gonna need to attach a pick onto this guy just to get off of him.
Yeah,
Do you know
and I
what I
mean,
mean?
I think attaching Dunn to it basically does that. Like Dunn's contract is non-guaranteed after this year as well, right? I believe that's the case with his contract. I'm
I
pretty
think it
sure.
was a 1-year deal or it was a 1 and none. as I
Yeah,
like to call them.
yeah, exactly. So it's another situation where you're getting a little bit of cap relief, but you're also getting a guy who it's like, okay, well, he brings in a defensive skill set, and that's what we're trying to do, and it bolsters up that bench unit a little bit. But as long as you're not having to attach any picks to this, like this kind of trade, like this is a win. Yeah, because you're getting rid of Edwards. As much as you wanted him to succeed, it just was not going to work here. Change of environment may do him the best for the rest of his NBA career, if there is going to be one. So, yeah, I think this is the best outcome. You know, you're getting a guy who can actually do something for you, like potentially at the very bare minimum. Like you just need guys who can come in and do something. He doesn't have to be a defensive stalwart. He's going to be able to shoot. You're going to be asking him to shoot the three ball and to handle the ball and to help spread the floor. Like you come in and you give a guy a specific role and you have him fulfill that role or give him the opportunity to, like you'll be surprised, especially with a guy like this. He's 25 years old still. Like his prime is very much ahead of him. And he had some excellent ball when it came down to like what he was doing in Denver. Like he had a year where he's shooting over 40% from three. Like that's good. That's really solid.
It's just
Especially for a big.
rediscovering that level of play. And
Yeah.
again, that to me comes down to fit. If the Nuggets decided to change the way they played or tweak their style and what they're asking of Juan, well, now you can see why the output fell. Then he goes to the Timberwolves, and that's not really going to be conducive to what he's trying to do because they seem very much more of a driving team. They like to run offense through Karl Anthony Towns. They'll use screen sets with Cat, and then they'll put in D'Angelo Russell into those screen sets, and then you add in Edwards and Culver, and they're both driving guys as well that like to do more of their work off the pull up. There wasn't really much room for Juan to actually excel there. So now you move him to the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies are stacked. You know, they've got Xavier Tillman, they had Jonas Valanciunas,
Slow-mo.
Slow-mo. There's a couple of other bigs out there whose names are eluding me, but these are all bigs that can shoot. You know what I mean? So Hernangomez's skill set was already in abundance on that roster. So they didn't need him to be who he is. They probably asked him to be a little bit different because, again, a role player doesn't have a team fit to them. They fit to the team. So coming into Boston where they need bigs that can shoot, well, hopefully we can start seeing a little bit more from Hernangomez coming forward. That pretty much wraps us up, right? I feel like anything else, we're just going to be going over the same stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a given. Yeah. I will say that he is in a movie with Adam Sandler that's supposed to come out on Netflix, so keep an eye out for that.
There we go, another superstar. Jokes. 2 Celtics in movies with Adam Sandler now. Obviously, one was far, far more of a big name than Hernangomez. But to be fair, I think that film is one of the most overrated films in history. But who am I to judge? As usual, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up. Share on your social media platforms. We are back giving you your daily dose of vitamins, your Celtics vitamins at that. I just got my new packs of vitamins in the mail. So I'm about to go take me one of them while you taking this. And we will catch you again tomorrow. Tim, why don't you tell everybody to have a nice day?
Have a good one. Cheers.
And I will say namaste.